This is Ogden, Utah, a city full of unique and diverse stories from all kinds of communities. From Union Station that brought the country together, to the Ogdenites that have lived here for generations, to the residents with disabilities that enrich and inspire our community, to the new Americans who have decided to call Ogden home. These are some of the stories you'll hear on this series. Welcome to the Untold Stories of Ogden City.
Hello, welcome to the Untold Stories of Ogden City. My name is Aliza Hancock.
And I am Shiann, and today we are talking about daily life of an Ogdenite with a disability.
We will also be talking a bit about how a person with a disability that lives in Ogden plans activities and gets around the city. So first we're going to give you a general look at individuals with disabilities as a whole. So Casey, can you please tell me what your life is like with a disability?
Yes, I would love to. So, my name is Casey. I'm a student at the University of Utah, and I am a blind student. So, the life of a person with a disability involves a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, problem solving, and informing the public because oftentimes people are around me and they don't even realize that I'm blind. They don't even know that I have a disability. So, it involves a lot of communication and no 2 days are ever the same as a person with disability, but honestly, that's what makes it so much fun.
All right. Casey, can you tell me how you navigate the city?
Yes, navigating is so much fun for me. So first I navigate with a guide dog. A guide dog is a trained service animal that leads a blind or visually impaired person. And people think that the guide dog knows exactly where I'm going. Like I can tell my guide dog, Kanga, take me to the Starbucks. That's not exactly how it works. It's up to the discretion of the guide dog handler to know where you're going. The dog is there to make sure that you don't get hit by a car or run into a branch or hurt yourself. Uh, so if I were going to Starbucks, I would have to know the route. Uh, it's up to me to get to my appropriate intersection, and then if I choose to cross at a time when it is not safe, my dog is taught intelligent disobedience, which is basically where, all right, the dog knows in their brain from the training that if I go, then we might get hurt, right? So the dog will not go, right? Um, so yeah, other than that, it will be up to me to know when do I turn right, when do I turn left, do I have to find any landmarks, and the dog overall is there to make sure that I don't get hurt and everything like that. Um, Navigating also involves a lot of planning and preparation. So, along with knowing the routes of where I'm going, I will also have to think about what the weather is going to be like. When I get to my destination, is it going to be a freestanding building? Is it going to be a strip mall? What kind of doors are going to be there? To get to my destination, will I need to take stairs, an elevator? And I will need to know all of these very interesting details. And I mean, going to a new place, you can't always plan out and anticipate every single detail. So that's where problem solving comes in. But I've been traveling for a very long time. Before I was a guide dog user, I used the white cane. So uh, being a cane user is very different because you get constant contact, constant feedback. You feel every single crack in the sidewalk. You feel those obstacles. Your cane is gonna let you know if there's something in front of you. But when I'm a guide dog handler, uh, I don't know that there's an obstacle in front of me because my cane, I don't have any tactile feedback, right? The dog will walk me around a garbage can and I won't even know because uh, she's my eyes, my guiding eyes, right? Um, and that's pretty much it. It involves a lot of planning and preparation, problem solving, and having a really good time.
Is there anything like what guide dogs wear?
Yes, yes. A guide dog wears a harness. My guide dog wears a traditional guide dog harness, which is leather. So there is a strap that wraps around her belly, and then on her back, there's a long handle that I hold on to. Um, and then a leash. So the leash is just there for if the dog makes a mistake, like she's sniffing when she's not supposed to, then I'll give a little leash correction. Oftentimes, people think when you correct the dog, because what it involves is you pull down on the leash, and people think, oh, doesn't that hurt the dog? No, it does not hurt the dog. It just lets them know, oh, I did something that I wasn't supposed to, so I will stop. Right? The leash is also there for when I'm not being led by my guide dog. I do have some vision in my left eye. So sometimes, like if I'm inside or I'm inside of a building that I'm very familiar with, I may choose to heel the dog, which is where I drop the harness and then I just hold on to the leash. And basically, the dog knows I'm in control back then during this moment. So I will be walking. I might have my white cane in my right hand and then my guide dog with a leash in the left hand. But most times I will just have the dog in my left side healing. And then during the winter time or when it rains, you can choose to put a jacket on the dog. And then maybe if it's too warm outside for the paws, the dog will wear what's called booties. Those are just little teeny tiny shoes. She doesn't wear them all the time, just when she needs to, like when it's too warm outside or like today it snowed, so she had to wear them because the salt, melting salt, it kind of irritates their paws, and if they lick their paws, it could they make them sick from the salt. So
Right.
but yeah, that's pretty much all that she wears. Oh, and her collar, but every dog wears a collar.
Of course.
All right. So on to our next little topic. So when you plan activities, what's the process for that?
Yeah. So I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but when I plan activities, I have to think about every single thing. How am I gonna get there? How am I gonna get back? If I'm getting food with a friend, do I have enough money to pay for my food? You basically have to think about where you're going, and then what things could go wrong, what things may I need help with. And I like to think to myself these three questions: what information do I want? What information do I need? What information do I have? And if I ask myself these three questions, I'm able to think to myself, okay, how am I going to get there? I'm going to take the bus. How am I going to get back? It's going to be late. I'm going to probably take an Uber or ride home with a friend. What information do I want? I want to know what's on the food menu, right? And then what information do I need? Like just any crucial information. Let's say that I'm going to a party. Will I need to bring a gift? Stuff like that. So personally, me, I use these three questions to guide my planning and preparation. And like I mentioned earlier, you can't plan for everything, which is why it's good for you to learn quick thinking skills, quick problem solving skills. And sometimes that doesn't always pan out, right? Like I know when I go out with my friends at night and the Ubers are really expensive, or sometimes in a part of town where there's not a lot of Ubers, I'll have to, all right, what am I going to do? Maybe I'll call a friend who lives in the area. But you may think to yourself, this sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, because I know that when I started first going out by myself or hanging out with friends, I wanted to go out. I actively wanted to make that choice to go out by myself, because before I was always constantly relying on my parents or my brother or my sister to drive me around. I had to get a ride. And
Same.
right?
Yeah.
So like when I first started doing what's called cane training or orientation and mobility training, this is where I learned all of those skills of what information do I need, what information do I want, what information do I have, and it just kind of makes you feel so much free. There's so much freedom in riding the bus by yourself and taking Uber by yourself, and before like I said, I had to always rely on someone for a ride. But when I can think to myself, you know what, I want to go get a coffee at Starbucks, it's so freeing and it's so gratifying to just say to myself, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to walk 5 minutes to the train station. I'm going to take a 2-minute train and walk to my destination. This is why I personally am so excited and passionate about the topic of orientation and mobility, because it really is a skill that can unlock so many other skills for blind people, and not even blind people, but all disabled people in general.
Interesting. Well, that concludes our main 3 topics.
Questions? I mean, I really like the last answer that you did. I think it's very amazing. I really liked it, so thank you.
Thank you.
What kind of activities do you like to do? What is there to do in Ogden City?
Oh, there's so much to do in Ogden City. Um, Something that I like to do is go to the gym, right? So, I go with my friends. I go to the gym at EOS. That's basically a gym just in downtown Ogden. It's like 23rd and Kiesel. So I go and work out with my friends, and we'll go sit in the massage chairs. And then downstairs there is a Costa Vida, so we get something to eat. And then hey, if you want to go down to the Fat Cats as well, there's a Fat Cats there. We go bowling,
I heard that.
arcade.
I heard
It's
that
actually
too.
so fun. And it's all in the same building. Isn't that awesome? The Junction in Ogden, place to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of tattoo parlors down there, but
Yes.
so what are the challenges you find in going to the activities that you mentioned?
Man, actually, there can be a lot of challenges. Well, for the gym, for instance, I didn't know what I was getting into when I first went to that gym because I didn't know how big it was, right? So something that I had to do is beforehand, I went in and I asked someone, "Hey, do you think you could show me where all the equipment is, just so I can have an idea of the lay of the land?" Right? So, they basically gave me a mini tour of where things were at, and because this is a place that I went to regularly by myself and with my friends, right? So, for my sake and for my independence, I wanted to give this tour, so I wanted to receive this tour so that I could walk around the gym freely. Sure, there may be instances where I had to ask for help, but by receiving that tour, it then helps me to prepare and plan for the next time I was gonna go there. And the more times I went there, the less I was nervous, and the less I thought to myself, what am I gonna do here? Like, what if I get lost? Because the more you go someplace, you get familiar with the area and you learn new things that you didn't know before about the area. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, the hardest thing about going out and doing fun activities is the unknowns, right? Like I said, you can't plan for everything, but this is why it's so important for you to have backup plans. Uh, and whether that is uh, getting an Uber, right, for when you're going to go home, or asking for help. I always ask for help. Um, don't ever think that if you ask for help, that makes you weak or makes you seem small. It actually makes you seem like the bigger person, because like I used to be the type of person that didn't ask for help, and so what did that make me look like? That made me look like a blind person who didn't know what he was doing, right? People are going to look, so you might as well give them something good to look at, right? And you look good advocating for yourself. You look good knowing what you need. You look good knowing that, okay, there are some missing information here for me. And so if I go and confidently ask for the things that I need, not only will I get what I need, but it makes you look powerful. It makes you look confident, and it just saves the struggles for another day, right? Like, go ahead and ask for help. And I always advocate for never be afraid to ask for help. And you can never ask for too much help.
So, how do you advocate for the things or like the materials that you need, or for like when you said that you go to the gym, how do you ask for like where's the equipment?
Yeah, so usually I have an idea of what I want to know, right? So when I ask for help, you have to know specifically what you want help with. And so, um, let me tell you a story. So one day, I was having a hard time trying to find the squat racks at the gym, right? Which is a platform where you can do squats or deadlifts, right? And so I walked around for like 5 minutes and I couldn't find it. And then I went to the front desk. I knew where the front desk was. That's like a landmark for me because the front desk doesn't have legs and it can't walk away, right? So it's always going to be in the same place. So I told my dog to go find the front desk, found the front desk, and I told them, hey, I'm blind. I know this gym. I'm kind of new to this gym. But could you please show me where the deadlift platforms are, where the squat racks are at? I know that they are in the same place because they were the same machine, they're the same structure. I just need to know where to get there. And basically, I said if I could get directions there. And then the gentleman was like, "What if I just take you there?" And so he took me there. And while I was there, I was asking him questions like, "Okay, so from the front desk, I take a right, and then I take a left." And he's like, "Yes, yes." So while he's showing me where the squat rack is, I'm being informed. I'm asking questions like, "Okay, so what else is around me, right?" Because maybe I might not know that the free weights are to the left of the front desk, right? And so that's just a added bonus information that I didn't know. Uh, and I know that that wasn't the main point of what I wanted to know, but that's just bonus information. And then I just kept talking to him until he showed me where the rack was, right, where
Okay.
the squat rack was, and it was really great because during our conversation, I got to know him, right? And so now when I go there, I see him every day, and you build a rapport with people, and it just makes you want to go there more, and it makes your experience more comfortable, and just overall more enjoyable because you know people, and it's the community. You're building community.
Okay.
Well, be as it may, since this is called the Untold Stories of Ogden City, do you have anything that some people might not know that is like a concept when you're living with a disability in Ogden?
Yeah. So Ogden is really not that big. Like compared to Salt Lake City, it's a relatively small community, right? So if you're a person with disability and you go someplace every day, maybe you ride the same bus, it's really easy to meet people. It's really easy to become friends with like the bus drivers. Like for instance, I was a student at the School for the Blind, and then I was also a student at Weber State University, right? So every day I would take the bus 625 that goes on Harrison, and I saw the same bus driver every single day. I got to know him. I talked to him, "Hey, Ken, how's your day?" And so not only was I able to meet him, talk to him, I found out all the latest and greatest what's going on in the bus stops. Like, "Oh, Casey, there's going to be a detour today on 12th and Washington." Good, awesome, Ken. Thanks for letting me know that. More information, and it was actually really, really funny because this is such a small community. This bus driver, I actually know her daughter because me and her daughter, me and his daughter are involved in the student division here in Utah, the Utah Association of Blind Students, right? And so it was really funny how that connection led to another connection. And specifically here in Ogden, it just shows how small the community is. So if you go somewhere, people are going to know you, and it just makes this community of Ogden feel so much more smaller and really like a family.
Very, very interesting insight.
Yeah.
What about the social life in Ogden City? How is it? What's it like? The daily social life.
Daily social life. Well, uh, I was a student at Weber State University. I went to Weber for my associate's degree, so I met a lot of really, really good friends here at Weber. My freshman year, I went to a freshman experience where we did like camping and wet water rafting, and that was just a fun activity put on by Campus Recreation. And so I met a lot of really fun people there. People, we were in the same boat. We were all freshmen, and it was really fun for me because this was the first time that I got to hang out with college students and like people who weren't blind. This was my first exposure to hanging out with non-blind people, so it was a learning experience for me. So I met a lot of really good friends there. Um, when I first started class here at Weaver, I had a class called University 1105, and that's basically a class where you learn how to be a college student. Like you learn how to read a textbook, how to take notes, how to give presentations. And some of my friends that I met during that class, I'm still friends with to this day. Even though I don't go to the Weber State University anymore, we're still really good friends.
Fascinating. So, have you experienced disability discrimination in this very small community of Ogden City, like discrimination against your guide dog or the ADA and stuff like that?
Yes, I have. So as a guide dog user, you have to deal with things called rideshare denials, right? Which is basically where if I request an Uber or a lift, and the driver pulls up, they may deny my ride altogether. They're gonna say, "Oh, sorry, uh, I can't take you for whatever reason, whether that be, oh, I'm allergic, I don't want dog hair everywhere," and so it's up to the guide dog handler, courtesy of the guide dog school, the training. They teach you your rights as a guide dog handler. They teach you everything in regards to the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so I did have a few denials here in Ogden, specifically like they were at the train station. I have had a few denials at Weber State. Um, and so when they happen, they are uncomfortable, right? They are uncomfortable. But this is why this is your opportunity as the advocate to tell the driver, "I'm sorry, but this is illegal. Can you please tell me why you are denying me?" And they're going to give me the reason. And this is where research and planning and preparation comes in. I can say, because I know this is actually illegal and this is going against your policy. This is there's a policy for Uber and Lyft saying that they have to take. It is required by law to be in accordance with the ADA that you take a person with a service animal, right? And it doesn't always work out. Sometimes they may deny me the ride. They may say, I just can't win with this person, right? And so I will just have to. They won't charge me for the ride, but they will go, and then I have to request another ride. But that does put me at a huge inconvenience because when I don't take Uber Lyfts a lot, but when I do, it's usually because of a good reason, right? It's late at night or I have a pressing appointment that I had to go to, right? And in these instances where I did get denied, I had a very important meetings that I had to get to, and so that made me late. But
Really
that's
does suck.
yeah, it does, but it does.
Yeah.
But that's why it's good to have a platform like this and uh, you know other information webinars where you can talk about that this is an issue and it's still happening. It doesn't just happen here in Ogden, Utah. It happens all over the United States. So I'm definitely not the only person who has to deal with this problem. There's no clean cut solution for how to prevent this, but we are working. The guide dog schools and other blind organizations like the National Federation of the Blind and the American Council for the Blind, they're working to plan and continue and to advocate for guide dog users everywhere.
Interesting. Very interesting
Okay.
insights.
So how does it make you feel when the driver denies you with your guide dog?
Well, I feel hurt, right? Because I'm a human being, and it's not like I chose to be blind, right? So it makes me feel like my disability is an inconvenience. It makes me feel like I'm not worthy of my rights, when in all actuality I am. And I mean, my dog is so cute, so how can you say no to these eyes, right?
Yeah,
True that.
exactly.
But no, it makes me feel not good. It makes me feel sad because I'm late to my appointments, and uh, I just wish that all drivers knew that these dogs are trained, these dogs are clean, they're well mannered, and so you didn't have to worry about them doing anything too crazy. Because I mean, yes, there is the possibility that the dog could shed in your car and everything, but this is where it's up to the guide dog handler to be prepared for these things, right? Like when I take my dog into public,
Mhm.
it's like me going into public, right? So I make sure that she's clean, and I make sure she's her teeth are brushed so she doesn't have bad breath. I brush her hair every day to make sure she looks nice, clean, shiny, that to reduce any minimal shedding should I have to get into an Uber. um but no, to answer your question, it makes me feel sad, but hopefully future legislation can prevent this from happening, and uh you know other people won't have to deal with this, but that we'll see when that happens.
So, when are
Okay.
you more commonly denied, Uber or Lyft?
Honestly, I don't know. I take Uber more because recently Uber has just been cheaper, right? So I think that happens more on Uber.
So, tell us more about your favorite things about Ogden City and why they're your favorite things.
Well, I think Ogden is so great because it's a community, it's a place that's not too big, it's not too crazy like Salt Lake City, but it's a place where you can grow, right? So I started my college career here, right, at Weber State. It was really comfortable for me because I was scared to go to college. I didn't know anything about college, and so my advisors, my disability services advisor, and my class counselors, and advisors, they were all very good to me. They were honest with me, and they gave me a lot of really great information on how to network and everything. And so I really Ogden made my college experience really really good, and it helped me transition to the University of Utah, where I am now. And Ogden is, I mean, in regards to traveling and everything and going around doing things in the community, it's a good place to do that because it's small, right? Like the grid system is relatively easy to learn, because we have Harrison, Monroe, Washington, and Wall, and then the number streets going north and south, right? So as a blind person, this is a perfect place to come and do learn your orientation and mobility schools. And the blind school helped me with that, to help me to learn how to cross busy streets like 12th and Wall. And so honestly, for me, this was just a really great place to hone in on all of my adulting skills as well. It is here in Ogden where I came to open my first bank account and learn about the difference between a checking account and a savings account. Like I said, college, I learned about taxes here. This is just a good place from my experience as a blind person, to grow up and kind of, you know, uh, establish yourself and get your foothold on life before, if you do choose to move to a bigger city, this is a great place to do it because it's really small. You can meet people here. I don't know. There's just so much about Ogden that I could talk about for a long time, and like this place will just always hold a very
Right.
special place in
Okay.
my heart. You know.
So, similar to that, what kind of things about Ogden do you not like so much?
Oh, oh, sorry. I made it seem like there's a lot of things. There's actually not. Um, well, something that kind of annoys me about Ogden is I've done pretty much everything that there is to do here. I wish that there was maybe a little bit more things to do, right? Like there's a lot of really good places to go hiking, axe throwing, good places to go eat. But my number one gripe, honestly, is probably the Newgate Mall. I love the Newgate Mall. Really great. I in college, my freshman year, I took my very first date to the Newgate Mall. We had ice cream inside the food court. That's the only good place to eat there in the food court. But I digress. I don't know. I wish that they would add more new things to the Newgate Mall and make it more fun. And I just think that it would add to the vibrance of downtown Ogden, historic downtown Ogden. Um, but I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it. Just build more fun things for young people. Yeah, that's about it.
When you're in Ogden, what are the things that your Kanga likes?
Oh, Kanga, I mean, she loves that there's so much free space here. So I take her to so many parks around the area, and we play catch. We go on long walks. We used to go run a lot on trails. There's like a bunch of trails. There's one on down 12th Street. We like to go hiking together. Kanga is a professional dog. She's a professional guide dog, don't get me wrong. But then when she's not working, she loves to go swimming. She loves to go hiking, fishing. And there's a lot of places in this area to go do all those things, outdoorsy things. Um, she also likes to play with other dogs. There's my disability service advisor. She did not live too far from where I lived in the area. So on the weekend, uh, Kanga went over and played with her dogs, and it was a good time. Um, I mean, yeah, I think Kanga loved Ogden just as much, if not more, than I did.
Okay. What are some things that Ogden City does better than some other bigger, more, I don't want to say popular cities?
I would say that people here are more receptive to feedback, like whether that be,
I can't help but agree with you.
yeah, right, like
I agree with you on that too.
yeah, and I'd love to hear your insight on this too. But uh, I just think people here are more open to feedback. Like when I was talking to traffic engineers, I did a few projects here with my orientation and mobility specialist, and we noticed that, oh, the APS system, you know, the little sign that says walk sign is on. Those things are kind of quiet in some intersections, and so we contacted the folks who are in charge of that, and they were very willing to listen to us. I'm not quite sure if that's because the community is smaller, so it was a little bit easier to take care of that
Maybe.
issue.
They're
but-
also a lot more friendly.
oh yeah,
Ogden City is a very friendly city.
right? People are always smiling and having a good time. They're really nice, right?
No one's really money hungry like shop owners, like always saying hi and stuff like that.
Well, even
Yeah.
that, I mean, there's a lot of really small businesses here in Ogden, right? Like small, like mom and pop shops. Those people are very, very amazing. You can find them all across 25th Street, and every time I go down there with some friends, they're always super receptive to us. There's a bakery down there. They love to give us free samples, and I mean, we do buy things, but
Well,
they're
of
so
course.
kind, you know? They're so kind.
So, what's some of the stores or restaurants that you like in Ogden City?
I think that my favorite place to go eat down here in Ogden is probably Roosters on 25th. Me and my friends go there quite often. So because we go there often, people recognize us and they know us. We know the lay of the land there. Food's good. I think I've tried pretty much everything on the menu. Shout out to the mac and cheese. Roosters mac and cheese is delicious. Yeah, no, Roosters probably my favorite.
Okay. Do you have any stores that are favorites or no?
Any stores?
That you
Not
like to shop at or no?
I mean, not really. I don't really do too much shopping like clothes, but when I do go shopping for like food and everything, I like to go to Smith's, like the Smith's on 12th and Harrison, or the one on 36th and Harrison. Those Smiths are really they're different because the one on 12th is way smaller. So when I was first learning the layout of Smith's and how to shop independently, I went to the smaller one, the one on 12th in Washington, and so it was there where I learned how to, request for a personal shopper if I needed one, which is someone who helps me basically find all my groceries. It was there where I learned how to do problem solving. I used to do scavenger hunts there when I was younger, and then when I went to Weber, I went to the one that was just across the street on 36th, which is way bigger, right? There's more options there, and it was a little bit more intimidating, and bigger. So of course I had to use my previous skills, but then also ask for help, and it just made my experience way better. So Smith's is good.
My shopping experience is just a completely normal shopping experience. I hate shopping unless it's at Hot Topic, so I'm like, I just want to get my stuff done that I need to do here and then leave.
Do you like to get like those graphic shirts from Hot Topic or what?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I actually, fun fact, I got these 3 necklaces from the Hot Topic store.
Dude, I love Hot Topic actually.
I got
It's so fun. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know, but I'm a wrestling nerd, right? So I love to get all my graphic tees from Hot Topic, and there's like band shirts. It's so fun. What kind of shirts do you get from Hot Topic, Liza?
I get a lot of Evanescence t-shirts
Oh, that's a good. Place
and
to go.
Skull
Yes.
t-shirts
Mhm.
and just a bunch of emo stuff. But I've had really bad shopping experiences at Smith's.
Oh, really?
Like literally the workers, I don't know if it was just the worker or the store, but I got told to watch where I'm going. That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Watch where I'm going? Why don't you watch where you're going?
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. Hopefully, it wasn't at either of the Smiths that I talked about.
It was in West Jordan, but
Oh, good. There
I've
you go.
also gotten told at a gym to stop staring at someone, but I'm like, I have a vision impairment. I'm not staring at anyone.
That's so funny because
Little
sometimes when I look
complete
at my
stranger.
phone, I look at my phone really close, right? When I don't look at voiceover, and so there's this one like old man that was like, "Man, don't look at your phone so close. You're gonna break your eyes." And I was like, "Don't worry, bro. They're already broken, so you're good."
Well,
I've also gotten told if you don't want to be blind, eat more carrots.
My mom's told me that too. Eat all orange things like oranges and carrots and squash. Okay, mom, that's cool.
That's cool. I'm still
honestly, the a lot of the vegetables, they don't really fix our eyesight.
They don't fix it at all.
They just,
They are healthy for your eyes, but they don't improve your eyesight.
yeah,
There's a difference.
yeah.
Well,
There
well,
is.
tell me this, guy. Do you guys like being blind?
No.
Um,
I don't like being treated well because when people hear the words visually impaired or blind, I immediately get treated and stigmatized as a blind person, and I get treated like I can't see anything at all, which is couldn't be further from the truth because I just need my print a little bit bigger. That's literally it.
And that's, I mean, it's okay, Eliza, because I dealt with the same thing. Like, they don't know. Like, they know how to, that's why it's really good to have platforms like this where we can tell people what blind and visually impaired people can do and what they're capable of, because I just think people treat you that way, and I used to get treated that way because they just didn't know. They're just ignorant, not in a bad way, just because they don't have experience to blind people every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the ratio of blind people, especially in Ogden, is low.
Yeah.
Like I think I was the only blind person in my, or low vision person in my school.
I was too. That's how I grew up. I was in high school. I was known as that one blind kid. So if people knew who I was, they would say, "Hey, Casey," to me in the halls, and I was like,
Oh, I got
Hey.
beat up in school for being visually impaired, which sucked.
"Did you use your cane to fight back?"
No,
Dang.
I didn't because I didn't want to get in trouble. But then my grandpa taught me how to fight, and that was a whole different story.
Yeah, it is.
But I found that, like, since I'm foreign to Ogden City and I don't live here, that it's like this tiny little tucked away community. It's like that stereotypical city where everyone kind of knows each other a little bit,
Absolutely.
and everyone's really friendly, and it's laid out like a typical city, so it's a really good place to practice your O&M skills.
Exactly.
Because there's not really anything. There's no piano crosswalks. Have you ever seen that piano
I
crosswalk?
have. Those are confusing.
Piano
Especially for-
crosswalks?
Especially for a
Oh.
guide dog user, it's like a crosswalk that looks like a piano keyboard.
Ah, yeah.
It's really weird. And that's why I'm saying that's like Ogden is the perfect place to like be a blind person, because the school for the blind is here. There's the Ogden Association for the Blind that's also here. Great place to practice O&M, shopping, living independently.
Really symmetrical too.
It is. Shout out to the
Yeah.
Ogdenites, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were
exactly.
called that until like a day ago.
I didn't know that either.
Me too.
But it's cool. Ogdenites?
Ogdenites.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to listen to the Untold Stories of Ogden City. If you like what you heard, be sure to give us a follow. Thank you so much to our guest, Casey,
Casey.
for joining us.
Thank you.
And hopefully you can tune in for the next episode. If you find that you liked it, like this episode. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Untold Stories of Ogden City, a podcast made possible by the amazing people at Ogden City, Weber State University, and 2892 Miles to Go, and of course, the youth of Ogden. Please give this series a follow so you can hear more exciting stories from around Ogden City and hear more about its rich history. If you'd like to know more about 2892 Miles to Go and the work they are doing to tell community stories around the country, visit their website at 2892walk.org. That is 2892walk.org.